everybody, and thank you so much for joining us at this Fat Girl Life. My name is Kim. I am your host. Y'all know me. Y'all been here for a minute. Welcome back to the show, and I'm so glad to be coming back after taking some time off. Today, I have Shawn Tegtmeier with us. We are going to have a wonderful conversation all about loving ourselves, loving others, but it starts with acceptance, and that's hard. But we're going to get into that in just a minute. Before we go there, though, if you guys want to help support what I do here and you want some inside information before it goes live anywhere else, go over to buymeacoffee.com/, this fat girl life. There you can do a one-time donation of support if you want to, or you can become a member. It's $5 a month, less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, y'all. And with that, you are going to have free digital downloads of journals that I've created. You are going to have inside information before anybody else of things that are coming up. And I am going to be starting a live or a separate podcast just for my members. So you get special content that nobody else will see just for $5 a month. So buymeacoffee.com/, this fat girl life. And that's how you can help support this mission of spreading love and joy to women of all sizes. Shawn, I want to thank you so much for being here with me today.
No, pardon me, froggies. Thank you so much for inviting me. I've listened to several of your podcasts, and they're just really cool. They're
Oh,
just really
thank
amazing,
you.
and it just everyone's just got such an inspiring message, and I think that's in today's world, that's really what we need right now. You know.
I would
Mhm,
totally agree.
mhm. Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Well, before we really jump into anything, why don't you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Like we were talking a little bit before, I quit smoking about 22 years ago. So I was 36 when I quit smoking. I had been smoking at that point for half of my life, and I was a good little smoker. I smoked like it was my job. But anyway, I ended up quitting. Um, Gained a bunch of weight, lost a bunch of weight, kind of started exercising a little bit. And I started a crazy thing called running because one of my friends had started running and kind of planted a little seed in my brain. And I just kind of started running, went back to school just to learn more about nutrition and health and muscles because I had literally no background in that. I never did any sports or anything. Um, and somehow that, after, couple of years, few years, evolved into personal training. I was able to take a national certification test and became a certified personal trainer. And that's what I've been doing for like the past 16 years. I quit my full time job, became a full time trainer, and that's what I'm doing now. And I people that knew me like in high school and after high school and in my 20s are, they're like, "I'm sorry, what? you yeah, you do what for a living? And you run marathons? That's crazy."
You
Um,
know, I get that a lot too.
mhm,
Because, when I first started college back
mhm.
in the 90s,
Right, right.
many moons ago,
Mhm.
I I was planning on going for music education. I wanted to become a teacher
Right.
and figured out that that wasn't my path.
Mhm.
And I didn't have the patience for it, couldn't do it. And so I kind of just like floated through retail and customer service, didn't finish college, ended
Mhm.
up
Yep. Yep.
dropping out
Mhm.
and just floated through like this, random jobs. Had a, what my last um, job outside of the home, had been there for 6 years. It was still customer service based,
Mhm.
but a lot more of the administration part.
Mhm.
And now here I am, a certified life coach. I've
Mhm.
gone through all the training.
Mhm.
Spent a a lot of time working on myself through it,
Mhm.
and I make podcasts.
Mhm.
And there are people that look at me and they're like, "You do what?"
Right?
So I get it. And just for a little bit of background, she mentioned the smoking thing. I haven't been very public about it, but I am in the process of trying to quit smoking. So that's why that came up.
Yeah. And I didn't want to out you there. I was just saying we
No,
had a conversation about it.
that's fine. I haven't told very many people, but by the time this episode airs, people are going to know anyways.
And
Um,
you're gonna have all this backing to help you
exactly
quit.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But today we're talking about a rather important topic,
Mhm.
and and I see it more in women than I do men. I know there are men that struggle with it too. So all my guys out there that are watching or
Mhm.
listening, you are included in this too.
Mhm.
Just from a personal standpoint, as a woman, I see it from women. We struggle with loving ourselves. And it's a round robin because to love somebody else properly and receive their love in return, you have to start with loving yourself.
Mhm.
But before you can even get to that place of loving yourself,
Mhm.
you have to learn how to accept yourself.
Mhm.
And that's where the struggle is. Because there's a whole lot of people that, oh, yeah, I love myself, but I hate this, and this
Mhm.
about myself.
Yeah.
You got to accept all that stuff to truly love yourself.
Mhm.
So that's where we are focused on today is that acceptance. Because until you can hit that point, you're really not going to fully get to the next level. It's
Mhm.
like a video game.
Mhm.
You got to beat the levels to be able to move forward and make progress.
Mhm. Yes.
So, I don't know, you went through that journey of self acceptance.
Mhm.
So, let's talk about that. Let's unpack that. How did that look for you?
You know, I feel I feel even like we still do it even now. I recently, had my website redone, and um, rather than telling everybody about it, it was like scary to let people know. Um, and people were like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Well, what if people look and they're like, what are you doing?" And um, I had the same reaction, the same feelings, I should say. A few years ago, I had written a book, my memoirs, and called "Running with Walt." And when when it was published, it was just so scary because I thought, oh, people are going to go, what? Who do you think you are? So I had like no, and probably, different times, really just not the confidence that, hey, this is me. I'm putting it out there. We all seem to have that little anxious feeling, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and as it turned out, the book was fine. Nobody ridiculed it or anything. And the same with my website. People are like, "Oh, this is great." So I think that's like an ongoing thing where we're constantly almost like you said, like video games, keep going up levels in the video games,
Mhm.
peeling away layers. Like because you're a certified life coach now, I'm in the process of doing that. You're doing the health life certification, and learning all about that. And it's just so true. And it's trying to help people get to that point.
Right? And
Mhm.
so you're going through the certification. So
Yeah.
um one of the things that I did when I was going through the certification was, the school that I went to for it kind of walked through
Mhm.
all these different areas.
Mhm.
And so I was kind of like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I'll do the work myself first.
Yeah.
And going through that process, like I never realized I'm in my 40s. I'm in my mid
Mhm.
40s. Well, getting ready to turn late 40s. I'm there.
Mhm.
And I thought I had gone through a lot of healing when I
Mhm.
was in rehab. And then I'm doing the certification and I'm realizing
Mhm.
that there was so much more I still needed to unpack.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, that's kind of where the inspiration for some of these podcasts that I
Mhm.
do started, was by going through that.
Yeah.
So I recommend, to anybody,
Mhm.
you might want to invest in life coaching,
Mhm.
because it's not like this hooey ooh ah thing
Yeah.
that's
Uh-uh.
like way out there, and it's not
Mm-mm.
therapy.
No, no.
For people
Mm-mm.
who are very anti-therapy, and I know there's a whole lot of them out there, and
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't, no, no shame, no nothing. Life coaching takes on a different purpose, because as a life coach, I'm just going to kind of plug what we're here to do. The job of a life coach is to walk beside you,
Mhm.
hold your hand, and give you the nudge that you need, and
Mhm. Yeah.
basically hold you accountable to those goals that you have set, because you got to have that accountability partner. But it also, part of my work as a life coach, because I focus on helping others to know their worth
Mhm.
and to love themselves. So that's what I do as a job now. I
Mhm.
want, and that's why I mentioned those online journals on the Buy Me a Coffee.
Mhm.
Is, there's some of those that are just small little steps that you're
Mhm.
taking to reach that point of acceptance. And shameless plug, if you actually go to the Buy Me a Coffee site, there is a journal on there. It's a 5-day journal
Mhm.
where you actually write letters to yourself, a letter of acceptance, where you're accepting yourself for who you are, as you are. There's a love letter to yourself, where you're
Yeah.
acknowledging at least one part of your being that
Mhm.
you love, because loving yourself doesn't happen overnight.
Oh, no. No, no, no.
And let me clarify that loving yourself is not equal to always liking yourself,
Mhm.
because it's just like when we deal with other people,
Mhm.
our children. I'm going to use children as an example. We love our children,
Right.
but we don't always like
Like
the things
them.
they do. So there's a
Exactly.
difference, and people need to see that difference.
Mhm.
You can love somebody, but you don't have to like
Mhm.
them. And so I have people write a love letter to at least one part of themselves, a letter of forgiveness forgiving yourself for the things that you've done, whether it be hurting others, hurting yourself, and just kind of acknowledging those things. You don't ever have to send these letters out there for you only.
Yeah.
But then there's also a letter of pride. That's actually the first one, is the letter of pride, of just being proud of yourself for something. Because for some people, it's, I accomplished this, and this. And that for them is a prideful moment.
Hmm.
I'm proud of them for that.
Hmm.
But for somebody else, it could be, I got out of bed and I took a shower today,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's where they're at.
Hmm.
But that's still something to be proud of.
Hmm.
So that's what I created, was actually a journal, a 5-day thing. And then the last one is just a letter of intent. What are your plans? What are your goals? How are you going to move forward? Because you're acknowledging some of those areas that may need some work.
Hmm.
And so that's how I do it. So definitely, if you're interested in that journal, you can go over to buy me a coffee. It's $2. If you're a member, it's free. So go on over, slide on over. But it really does come down to acceptance. And the way I look at it is, some of the things that we say to ourselves, that self sabotage, that we are all guilty of, every one of us.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But you're, if, would you say those things that you say to yourself to another person? Or would you allow another person to say
Hmm.
those things to
Hmm.
you?
Hmm.
And it's like, why do we do it to ourselves then?
Right.
If we wouldn't tolerate it from somebody else.
No, that's so true. It's so true.
And so you mentioned the whole self sabotage thing.
Hmm.
Talk about how that looked for you.
Um, well, I had to really kind of sit down and kind of really like reevaluate, I guess you could say, everything. And I thought, okay, well, when I like if I see somebody's, website or whatever, I don't think, ugh, you know, I think, oh, this is cool. Let's see what they're doing. And I thought, okay, so I look at other people, as I said, that like are in the same like field as myself,
Mm-hmm.
like you, right? If I would look at your website, I wouldn't think, "Oh, who does she think she is?" I think, oh, this is really cool. Or like with your podcasts, oh, this is really cool. And then I think, well, then I'm gonna. I had to kind of reverse it around, thinking, well, then people are probably thinking the same thing about me, not, hopefully they're looking at as a positive or getting something out of it. And if they're not, then just scroll on by. But I don't think that they're going to be like, oh my God, this is just ridiculous or something. So you have to, and it's a really hard thing to do. Yeah. Cause another one of my friends, she had the same kind of situation, you know, um, and she's like, yeah, I had a site thing going on. And she goes, I didn't tell anybody about it. People are like, well, why not? She goes, well, because I kind of thought people are going to go, well, what do you think you're doing?
Right?
And yeah, it's just so funny, the self doubt that we have. And you have to really sit down and like what I'm learning in my health and life coaching classes is like, like big steps are not accomplished in one step. And you had mentioned earlier, everything is small steps. It takes a lot of small steps to make a big change. And I think that's something that a lot of people are really missing because we really need, um, again, in today's day and age, everything is instant gratification. If
Yep.
we can't do something like this, then then we don't want to do it. We don't want to work for it. But you have to take all these tiny little steps,
Well, and
you
I'll
know.
be, let's even look at it scientifically. It is scientifically proven that to change a habit,
Hmm.
it takes 21 days
That's 21 days.
to
Yep.
form a habit.
Mm-hmm.
Same as to break a habit.
Mm-hmm.
If you are trying to quit something,
Right.
if you're trying to make a change,
Yep.
whatever it be,
Mm-hmm.
21 days.
Right.
And that's honestly what I used to do when I first started working on this is I would actually put a sticky note on my bathroom mirror
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and repeat the words on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like one little area that I wanted to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time I'd go into the bathroom for 21 days,
Mm-hmm.
I would see that.
Yep.
And it would mentally put it in there. Even if I didn't act on anything for that
Mm-hmm.
today, it was still in my subconscious
Yep.
every single time I looked in the mirror
Yep.
for 21 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would swap it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very much, and everybody learns differently. Everybody does things differently.
Yeah.
I am
Absolutely.
very much a visual, tactile person. So that's why, I even, you know, and it's going to be on the Buy Me a Coffee, but I have started making like bookmarks
Mm-hmm.
and things of that nature with positive words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That way it's something that you have that's tangible for 21 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then you move to the next one. And it's really it seems like it's such a hard thing, but really it is that simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is pick one thing, and I'm gonna use an example on myself because I don't ever want to put anybody else as my
Right.
example.
Right.
I try to really use myself, and that opens, it's that whole vulnerability aspect,
Mm-hmm.
which is something to accept yourself. You have to be willing to be vulnerable. If you are not willing to be vulnerable, you're not willing
Mm-mm.
to be
No.
honest with yourself,
Mm-mm. Then
it's
no.
not going to work.
No.
Let's just put
Uh-uh.
that out there first.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I've gone through this whole season of change. That's why I've been absent for a year because I have gone into respiratory failure and heart failure due to COVID. So it's taking on a whole new image for me, even. Going on camera, having to wear oxygen was such a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure.
I didn't want people to see me like that. I didn't I didn't want to be looked at as injured or I didn't want to be looked at as disabled. I didn't want to be looked at as any of that. And that was a whole new process.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's why I took a year off of acceptance. And there was a lot of work I had to do, healing. I had hospital stays, etc. All part of trying to get a healthier place for my body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was a struggle of acceptance of this new thing that I had, and it it took a lot for me to even talk publicly about my disease and things like that because it's not we don't want to think of ourselves
Mm-mm.
in terms of unable to do things.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's
that's the only way
very.
to put it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And For me personally, I live in a very cold state right now. Um, so in the cold air, it's even harder to breathe. So I'm housebound
Yeah.
a lot of the time, which makes it even harder. So when when I come on this podcast and I bring others on the show, we're not saying these things, just as the experts and,
Mhm.
we've got all these pedigrees or whatever.
No.
We've actually been through it.
Mhm. Real life.
Well,
Real life experience.
exactly. And
Mhm.
that's what honestly makes the best coach personally
Mhm.
is having that real life experience.
Yep.
But if part of what we're saying resonates even just a little bit and you can relate to it,
Mhm. Yeah.
then draw something from it. And I love if you are going through a season where you can relate to these things,
Yes.
please hit me up in my DMs, message me at this fat girl life. You can email me.
Mhm.
I'm sure Shawn, you could go over to her website.
Yep.
I don't
Which
know
is
if you
just
have a
my name.
contact, connect with me or anything through your
Yeah.
website.
Mhm.
But definitely reach out because
Yeah.
I'm willing to help work with
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
And we talked about the importance of actually having a life coach to help guide you through and walk you through.
Mhm.
I can tell you right now, there are a lot of people that are hesitant to use life coaches
Oh, yeah.
because they, especially price.
Mhm.
Price point is huge. So I am, just letting people know if you want to work with me, I'm going to work with your budget because I feel it needs to be available to everybody,
Mhm.
not just a certain financial class. All people need to have access to that because it is a form of healthcare. Self-care
Mhm.
is healthcare.
And it's so underrated.
Yes.
It falls right. I mean, pardon me. Like, I think the most underrated things, the three most underrated things that I have found are sleep, hydration, and self care.
I am 100% going to agree with you.
Hmm.
100% going to agree with you
Hmm.
on that. So, honestly, if you want to, I'm going to put this out just for this episode. If you want to work with me
Hmm.
and you are watching this episode and this is how you found out about me, mention it to me and you know what? We will work something out to get you what you need.
Hmm.
Or if you are at a place of financial privilege and you want to allow somebody else to be able to get assistance, you can make a donation for that purpose as well.
Right. You could have like little scholarships or something set up.
Yeah, I'm definitely willing to do that. I will set
That's a
that
neat
up
idea.
actually today.
Hmm.
Where you could donate to allow somebody else
Hmm.
to walk through this journey.
Yeah.
If you've already gone through the journey and you are in a place of financial privilege where you have that extra money to give,
Hmm.
please feel free to give it to somebody, give it through a coach for somebody else. And
That's,
I will be offering that on my Buy Me a Coffee. I will be setting up to where you can donate for a scholarship um, for somebody else to be able to have a coach to walk them through
that's a
it.
wonderful idea.
Because it does really boil down to accepting yourself. And
Mhm.
sometimes you don't know how to do that by yourself.
Mm-mm. It's hard.
You need somebody who's going to help you.
Mhm. Mhm.
So my I know we're coming to the end. I do want to know, going through your process, your journey of acceptance of yourself and of others, and ultimately self love, what was the hardest step?
You know, that's really a good question. I think one thing that I'll touch briefly on it. One thing that kind of really made me reprioritize, I guess you could say, is in 20 2016, I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is bone marrow cancer.
Mm,
And I had to go through a stem cell transplant and everything like that. And less than 2 years later, it had failed. And so I had to go through another process because it's this multiple myeloma is not curable. It's manageable, but it's not curable. So I'm in treatment, and I take my pills, I go do my drip, the whole bit. But having having this make it just kind of like with your health issues, my health issues, it really turns a lot of things around, and it makes you realize a lot of our problems, and I don't want to sound like snarky, but I think a lot of people's problems, and sometimes I'll say that, and I probably shouldn't. I'll be like, that sounds like a real first world problem. you know?
right?
And it's
I
like,
do the same
I'm
thing.
just I'm just so grateful that, that I that I'm here. I mean, granted, I am in treatment. Um and that I'm able to do everything that I'm able to do, maybe not as well as I used to be able to do it. When I first started back in my late 30s, early 40s. Um, but and one thing that I think a lot of people just like when I was first diagnosed, of course, it's horrifying. You're like,
Hmm.
um, and people just, they were hugging me and going, "Oh my God, we're so sorry." La, la, la. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna get through this. And they're like, but don't you understand? And I'm like, I do, and I have to deal with this. And I don't I appreciate it, but
It's
I
that
cannot be I
mindset.
cannot be coddling you right now because this is me.
You've got to
You know?
establish that mindset,
Yeah.
and with that comes establishing boundaries.
Yes, and it's like I have to figure out what I'm doing, and then, people are like, "You're the bravest person I know." And I'm like, "This isn't brave. This isn't running into a fire and saving a child.
This is
This is
survival.
this is what it is. It's not like something I chose, so it's not brave." And they're like, "Well, how are you doing it?" I'm like, "Well, how else would you do it, right? You just gotta keep going forward,
Yep.
just like yourself. It's
Yep.
nothing you picked. You're not, and yeah, I don't mean to say you're not brave, but really you're not. You're dealing with the cards you were given. That's
No, I
what you
100% agree.
do,
I take no
right?
offense. There's
Yeah.
nothing brave about it.
No, no. It's just, and it's acceptance. We're accepting, like, you could just go, okay, this is me now. I can't do anything. Same with me. People are like, shouldn't you be at home resting? And I'm like, to do what? To sit on my couch and go, oh, poor pitiful me. You know? And you're the same. You are just going forward.
I may be doing it at home in my
Right,
armchair.
right. But
That's
you're
the
moving
background right now is
forward
my
and
armchair.
yeah, you're
But
living to the best of your abilities right now, which is all we can ask anybody to do.
it was about finding, honestly, that silver lining. Because I'm not
Yeah.
going to lie, I
No.
went through a season
Mhm.
of depression and I
Mhm.
still have moments of depression
Oh,
with
sure.
this, when, especially like for me, because of the cold air, I can't, it
Right.
physically hurts
Mhm.
to
Yep.
breathe outside.
Yep.
So I do stay inside a lot.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so it was a matter of, okay, so what can I do now?
Yep.
I can focus on growing my business.
Mhm.
I can focus on doing this. I can change and start doing this.
Mhm.
That's how I came up with the whole cross stitch merchandise product.
Yeah. See?
Of hey, I can cross stitch. I love cross stitch. I
Mhm.
haven't done it in forever. I inherited a ton of cross stitch from my mother when she passed. I
Mhm.
got all of hers, and then we
Yeah.
have this amazing little shop here in the Springs that I was able to go to get more. So that's kind of how that came about,
Yeah.
was going through that season
Mhm.
of acceptance. So through your journey, what was the pinnacle best moment?
Oh gosh. I you know, I feel like there's just so many different moments.
Kind of a loaded question.
Kind of a loaded question. It's, it's just like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'll get like a referral or a note or something, a message that didn't expect at all,
I
and
love
people are like,
those.
"Oh my God, this is so amazing. Just love what you're doing." And did it. And I'm like, huh, okay. I
I
guess I'm
I
doing something
love
right.
those, and I'm gonna put it out there. That's actually how you and I met, because I had done a post on a Facebook group,
Yep.
and you reached out to me via private message,
Yeah.
and I actually have it right here. I'm gonna read it. I am totally gonna put it out there. Um, it was um do, 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 do. You had sent me a message about how you would listen to multiple episodes,
Mhm.
because I can't find it, of course, right this
Right, right, right.
second. But you would listen to multiple episodes, and how much some of it resonated with you.
Yeah, so much
And I
resonated.
totally wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And it hit on one of those
Mhm,
days where I was struggling. Like,
mhm,
I was riding that struggle bus that day.
mhm.
You had no way of
No,
knowing that,
yeah, none,
but I
didn't
got
I?
that
Yeah, yeah,
message, and I was like, "Oh my god, that helps so
right?
much."
Yep.
And so that, you know what, that's gonna be my challenge for you guys. In with accepting yourself, I want you to not only give write yourself a note,
Mhm,
but send a quick message,
mhm. Yeah.
or a text, a private message, however you choose to reach out to somebody.
Mhm,
But send it to somebody, just send a message to them telling them what you appreciate about them.
mhm. I love
Because we all need that little uplift.
mhm,
So that's my challenge to you guys.
mhm,
Sometimes I ask you to post something in the comments, hashtag replay, hashtag this fat girl life,
mhm.
whatever.
Right?
I don't, I mean, please feel free to do all that. But really, I want you to reach out to somebody else
Mhm,
and just let them know what you appreciate about them.
mhm.
Because I guarantee that's going to come back to you tenfold.
Yep.
It may not happen immediately,
Nope, yep. It might not.
but the more you are willing to put that positive out there,
Mhm,
the more that positive is going to come back. I
mhm.
promise you that.
Yes. Yep.
I will stake my life on that.
It's
And
when you
there's very
least
few things
expect
that I do
it.
that.
It's when you least expect it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Well, Shawn, again, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
No, thanks for having
I
me. I'm
know
super
you have seen, of course, I know you've seen previous episodes, so you know there's always that final question.
I know.
And so this is the final question that nobody ever gets to know what it is
I
until
know.
I ask.
Okay.
What is your personal word for the year of 2023?
Gosh, I was working on that. I know what it was from last year, and um, unstoppable.
I love that. I love that. In fact, I am actually going to write that down
Okay.
because everybody's personal words,
Mhm.
when I do this episode, that's what I'm looking for. An ink pen. Have to have my fancy blingy ink pen.
Oh, of course.
I am actually going to be turning all of these personal words into bookmarks
Oh, good.
that will be available for sale through the Buy Me a Coffee.
Good, good, good.
So, you guys, the bookmark that will have Unstoppable will be coming soon. By the time this episode airs, it will be available for sale. Bookmarks are $5 each, no tax. Um, I take care of that for you. So it's $5 plus shipping. And if you're a member, you will get a discount. So if you are a member of my Buy Me a Coffee, you will get a discount on that. They are generally $5, and it can be personalized to a different color if you would like, or you could just let me pick. But I'm gonna make Unstoppable into a bookmark because that is a word that I am loving right now. Love it.
Good.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for being with us. I cannot wait to see you guys at the next episode. Make sure that you are following me on Facebook, on Instagram. Go to Amazon.com and look at Running with Walt. And that's how you can help support Shawn is by purchasing her book. Now, is it
Mhm.
available just paperback, hardback, Kindle? How is it
It's
available?
paper. It's like a paperback and an ebook.
Okay, perfect. So if you
Mhm.
have a Kindle, you can get it on your Kindle, guys.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Yeah.
how. That's the only way I really order books is on my Kindle. So I always
Right.
want to,
Yeah.
put that out there. Of there are different ways to do it. So you guys
Mhm.
go check out her book. Thank you again for being here. I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you.